All right, so I took the transcript from this particular video by Philosophical Gamer. Boomers are the worst hypocrites ever. I ran it through ChatGPT and it gave me a different video. I got the title A Bachelor's Degree Scam, $10 an hour for what? And that's exactly what happened to me. I was struggling after the financial crisis of 2008. I didn't know what to do. I got kicked out of my job because the corporation got bought out that I was working at. And it wasn't a lucrative position there. It was a help desk job where it's the help desk, right? It's not anything fancy. And the more that I think about, only 1 in 5 people in America actually consider their job to be worthwhile, or they're too scared to say that they hate their job because they're afraid that someone's going to hear them. And they're more afraid of losing their job than of making a difference, as most of us can. So, someone also wrote a little while ago that I said this yesterday: the proletariat has to self rescue from a system that's hell bent on making certain that they can't get ahead, and then contrasted that with my getting my brakes fixed. Like, it really, really made some people butt hurt that I wouldn't fix my own car. And I don't get that. Again, these people that think that we're all the same, I don't know. I don't know how to change a tire. If I get a flat tire, I have to call AAA. It's just something that I haven't been around. I wasn't exposed. I didn't have a father figure in my entire life. And you have to remember, they the default for a lot of millennials and a lot of Gen Z is going to be no father figure in the household. And your mom's too busy to show you how to change the brakes on your own car. I've never been around men. I have never liked men. I don't like being around them. And I just prefer the company of married women. If it really comes down to it, I prefer the company of married women because they're not interested in pulling down your pants. It just comes down to that. It's just, I hang out with people who, on paper, have every reason not to be looking for anything other than someone to chat with because they've got kids. They're not looking for a relationship with someone as broke as I am, or they're married and their husband makes a lot of money. Anyhow, I just thought I'd put that out there. So, getting back to my point. So, this happened to me, and I've mentioned it in a lot of my videos, is that after the 2008 recession, I went back to school for another 10 years because I didn't know what else to do. I was stuck in retail jobs, and I decided that I was going to go back to community college. So, I went back to community college for a year, and then I went back to the university to finish up my other 3 degrees, on the verge of finishing up my psych degree at that point. But to me, it felt like hiding at university was the best thing to do because I knew what was out there. I was in denial every time that I went to career services or every time I went to my academic advisor because I was scared that I was going to come out and that I wasn't going to be able to find a good job. And I remember in a Call of Duty, I was playing Call of Duty Ghost, and I remember telling the chat, I wish I still had that video because I'd play it for you guys right now, in which I discussed how worried I was about the upcoming graduation because I don't see people getting jobs. I wasn't getting any job offers. I had my resume out there, no one was calling me back, just like right now. The only jobs that are out there right now are the bad jobs, and those bad jobs have been there forever. The only thing that I'm seeing differently now is that more and more restaurants are failing. A lot of small business is failing. I mean, all I would have to do is take you guys around my neighborhood and you could see every single job that's failing. And it's only a matter of time before they're gone. I just went across the street to the salon because somehow this Indian woman maintains this place. She's been there for years, but every other place around her is now gone. They couldn't, with the cost of running a business. If you're having to charge $25 for a basic Great Clips haircut, the economy's destroyed. everything is destroyed and people are not spending as generously as they used to. Although I just read this morning that this year's record online sales for Black Friday, people are doom spending. What else can I say? But overall, getting a job right now is going to be nearly impossible. There's going to be another generation of Gen Z that's about to graduate in a couple weeks from ASU. Last year in May, they graduated 20,000 people. That means you saturated the market with 20,000 people with a 4 year degree. And these people with a 4 year degree are going to come out and realize they got scammed. I've been telling you guys this for years and years. When I went to ASU, it was 100% a scam. There was no guarantee of a job. They didn't give you any job skills. You came out here with a phony education for jobs that don't exist. When you come out of school with liberal arts degrees, they're not designed for run of the mill white collar jobs. The corporations want people that have training. If you come out here with your bachelor's degree fresh from ASU and you have no special training, you are not going to get a job. And I had to learn that the very, very hard way. I came out, I couldn't find any job after graduation whatsoever. I'm still looking for a job. Hell, I haven't had a job yet. I'm still waiting to come around the corner and get an actual job. Because to me, if you're making $10 an hour after finishing up your bachelor's, that didn't mean anything. You're getting the job that you could have gone without going to college or without even having to graduate from high school. That's how bad the job economy is out here. The jobs are for people who didn't even graduate from high school. And I'll tell you this from my own personal experience, that's not made up. I worked with these people when I worked in retail. And they would look at me and be like, wow, you're so college educated. Why don't you have a good job? And oh my God, I got into it with so many different people at work over that question because they wanted to know what was wrong with me. You sound educated. You don't look like you should be working here. It looks like you should be out there in the real world making a lot of money. And I'm like, you know what? This is happening to millions of people. There are no good jobs, and it's a scam. Higher education's a scam. The trade schools are a scam. I mean, there was a guy yesterday who I was listening to who was talking who really went hard after the trade schools because he showed that they were being overused. They offer one thing, and then you realize that when you get out, oh my God, I'm just making a couple bucks more than the minimum wage. But I've seen the sales pitch. I've seen how hard they push, these great, unbelievable careers for people who couldn't go to a university because they weren't smart enough. Every trade job, at least around me, requires a test to see if you're semi-intelligent enough before they shove you into the program. I'm sure this was mandated, a state mandate or government mandate that you had to make certain that they could touch their nose and their rear end simultaneously, or else you couldn't put them into your trade school and start taking out student loans for people who were never going to graduate. And that's an entire segment in and of itself that's sitting out there right now is people who went to college for a couple of years, decided it wasn't for them. Student loans don't care if you graduate. That's the big one. If you default on your education because you just didn't want to do it, there was this one girl that I met, and she told me that her parents were very wealthy while I was in class, and she had a tendency to go to sleep in the most bizarre way. Like she would come to class and she'd be tired, she'd just throw her head back, and then she'd start snoring loudly. Anyhow, every couple years she'd get that wild hair up her rear and come back to school and try it out and then decided that she didn't like it and so she'd move back home. But her parents kept encouraging her, and this was her fourth year, and she only had one more semester and she decided that she didn't want to do it anymore. But what's the difference between her and myself? Wealthy parents. If I had the opportunity to just sit at home right now like Gen Z and question whether or not I would ever be rich, while gaining no skills, no technical training, and not having any interaction at home other than people online while you're playing World of Warcraft. I I wonder if there's a version of me that got to do that, where my parents just said, we understand there's no good jobs. And like John said this morning, his mom told him she didn't understand why he wouldn't take a part-time job working at Domino's. What's wrong with that? There's so many things wrong with that, especially if you're over 30 and you're out there right now wearing the retail uniform. Like, I just got back from shopping at the Dollar General. I had to go there to buy my laundry detergent, which I made it short because I thought it was funny that they are selling detergent, Tide detergent, in the size of a salt shaker, because no one can afford to buy the $20 bottle of Tide anymore. Even laundry soap is beginning to start to irritate the proletariat. If you have to go buy your laundry soap or any product in a much smaller container because that's all the money you have, because you had to waste so much money in unexpected expenses, you know you're not doing that great. You know that things are wrong when you have to shop in the Dollar General. And you look around and there was lots of regular people in there. That's what really struck me as odd. They didn't look down and out. They looked middle class and they were shopping in the Dollar General. Anyhow, this video has gone off the rails. Let's get back on track and get started with my opening paragraph here. I graduated college thinking that my life was about to change. Everyone told me, get a degree and you'll get a good job, but here I am, living paycheck to paycheck, working for $10 an hour, drowning in student loan debt, which is the cry from all the students that have graduated in recent years. You're making about the minimum wage. They're making certain evil corp is that you can't get into a good job because they're putting that barrier out there right in front of you. 3 to 5 years, preferably 5 to 10 years of experience before they'll give you a job. And of course, your average college graduate didn't get any experience because it's hard to get experience. Getting experience and having experience is ridiculous. No job is going to let you get experience and then use that experience to earn more money. My corporation is that exact same evil, right? They have kept people at my current job without raises now for as long as they could get away with. On top of that, they're not offering any sort of advancement, no title changes, no special skills, and all they're hoping to do is burn out every single person that works here and have them move on because they're not interested. Even when I mentioned it in my review, they're like, that's not even in the possibility. And I was just like, wow, you're telling me there's no reason to work here. That's what corporate America is telling you. There's no reason to work here. And you're like, well, if my employer's telling me there's no reason to work here, how bad is it out there? So let's get into our talking points here, because I do have 3 of them. I still have a little time to get through them. I spent way too much time on the introductory monologue because this particular area of my channel, this subject is very painful to me because I am the person that I'm talking about here. Talking point number 1. Point out the absurdity of requiring a 4-year degree for jobs that pay $10 to $12 an hour, barely enough to cover rent or basic living expenses. So I said this yesterday, that the current wages don't make it worth going to work. And this guy, Philosophical Gamer, said yesterday, do anything but work, because work isn't going to cover your expenses. And this is, of course, based on a 40-hour work week. If you're working a 40-hour work week, and that means you're working 160 hours a month, and your expenses at the end of the month exceed what you make, any rich person will tell you the answer is simple. You don't need to sleep, because they're not going to pay you more. And this is from restaurant owners during the pandemic. We run on razor tight profit margins. If those razor tight profit margins are so tight then why do you have a business? I ask this of the megalomart all the time. If you have to pay people nothing, why are you a store? Why are you a business? Because I don't get this. Why are you allowed to exist when you are the biggest consumer of welfare on the planet? And how do you consume that welfare? Tax cuts and ensuring that you pass on the health care and the food assistance onto the taxpayer so that you can afford to have workers. Otherwise, who's going to feed and house your workers? You're not, because you're more interested in making certain that only one class of people is comfortable within your business, and that's the executives and higher management. You don't care about Susie Rottencrotch who takes off her uniform. Hell, she leaves her uniform on as part of her kink and then just walks behind the store and waits for the other proletariat men to come out because it's time for Susie to bend over because it's her part-time job. So she's back there working it for the next 6 hours, goes home, gets ready, goes to Walmart again, but she just can't make it. She can't afford to work on what she gets paid in a 40-hour work week, so she has no choice. Johnny Sixpack has it even worse. He may get out of his retail job and have to go work at a Harkins movie theater till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and then show up haggard because we know what these jobs do. These jobs destroy people. Work is a mental health and physical health destroyer. You take up any healthy person and you put them into a job with high stress levels, you will watch their mind, their body disappear, be ruined by that work. And I saw it when I worked in retail. I didn't understand why everyone was bald that had worked there for a long enough time. But the stress, the malnutrition, and the financial strain, it takes a toll on your entire body. Like my hair started thinning. The second I started working in retail, my hair started thinning, and people were pointing that out to me. I had girls who would walk up to me and push up their hair, and they'd have golf ball sized missing hair, bald spots. And I'm like, what's that from? The toxic environment. And this is something that was mentioned by Philosophical Gamer this morning. And this is something I forgot that I wanted to mention earlier. But if you're a person that's going to go into the trades, you're going to go into very toxic environments. These aren't clean places to work. Why do you think the show Dirty Jobs exists? Mike Rowe goes to these places as a multimillionaire to pretty much torment the proletariat or guilt them into taking jobs that are considered extremely toxic to the human body. Welding is just one of those ones he brought up. If you're being exposed to the fumes of burning metals all day long, do you not think that's going to hurt you long term? All trade jobs are dirty jobs, sick. These jobs make people sick. Do you think mining is good for you? Of course it's not. Everything about working seems to hurt the proletariat in every conceivable way, and it's never good for them. All right, talking point number 2. Discuss the unrealistic expectations of employers demanding 3 to 5 years of experience for so-called entry-level jobs. These requirements lock recent graduates out of the workforce, forcing them into low-paying, unrelated jobs just to survive. The boomer who owns that business doesn't care about what your education looks like. And I'm going to keep saying this in every single video that I make from moving forward. They don't care. Boomers don't care about your mental health or how you don't care about working there. Because I'm going to keep bringing this up. If only 1 in 5 people cares about their jobs in corporate America, the boomers are having a fit. And I've seen them in real life just go ape, beep, beep, beep at people who don't want to work minimum wage jobs. I've had one go off on me at a Dairy Queen a few years back because he didn't understand why no one would take his jobs. We have hundreds of thousands of jobs that are shown in job reports every single month that aren't suitable for human beings. They might be suitable for some sort of single-celled organism, but human beings need real money, and they're not getting it out there from these crummy jobs. All right, so I'm nearly out of time. So I'm going to mention my last talking point, and then I am going to read out loud what I put into toxic positivity. Compare the economic opportunities available to previous generations, boomers buying homes in their 20s with high school diplomas, versus the crushing financial burden faced by Gen Z and millennials today. If the average age of home purchasing right now is in your mid 40s and going up every year, we have come to a place where this isn't suitable. This is a system that needs to be torn down limb by limb and rebuilt in a completely different way because this system isn't working. Not for the people that actually live here and are under those conditions. So, this is what I saw. I think this is one of the talking points for another video that I saw earlier, or it was a recommended title for this particular video. So, in toxic positivity, here we go. This is a title: Why Boomers Should Get Off Social Security and Work Minimum Wage Jobs. Can you imagine your grandpa working at a busy Taco Bell and then at the end of the week getting a $300 paycheck? Oh my God. At that point, these people would finally understand. If we made all of the Congress people and all of the senators spend one summer working in the lowest level jobs, I think there'd be some change coming pretty quickly when they saw that first $300 paycheck. Because remember, at the minimum wage, working part time, that's all you're bringing home. You're working about 30 hours at $10 an hour, minus those state taxes and Social Security. You're bringing home $300 a week. And if that's not staggering enough, can you imagine trying to feed your family? Can you imagine trying to buy a car or just live? You can't. It's impossible. And I've shown that on this channel repeatedly. And it's the message I'm going to continue to bring for the rest of the time that I do this channel.